a lot of industries around the world, oil and gas, disaster management, cellular backhaul. A lot of the fire departments around the world are using the antennas for communication. As you know, not everywhere, even today, is connectivity available. So satellite is something that provides life-saving connectivity in many places where there's no other way to get connected.
Welcome to another installment of the Next Gen AI case study series. In this series, we are speaking to leaders of industry about their experiences in customer acquisition, AI, technology, and a bunch of other really cool topics. Today, we have on the show Leslie Klein, the president and CEO of CCOMs Satellite Systems, Inc. He's got a background in satellite communications and has been involved in significant technological advancements in the industry. I'm excited to pick your brain here, Leslie. But before we do, I'd love to kind of get a Cole's Notes version of who you are, where you came from, and how you kind of landed in this position.
So, as you said, my name is Leslie Klein. I am the president and CEO of CCOMs Satellite Systems. The company was started 27 years ago by myself and two other engineers. We developed an antenna system that allows delivery of high-speed internet into vehicles for over satellite. So it was 27 years ago. It was like a lifetime ago, but everybody said we were crazy because this was not possible. So we made it possible, and it became quite an interesting vertical market called the satellite on the pause communication, which means that the antenna system that sits on top of a vehicle has to be stationary or was stationary at the time. And in order to find a satellite, all the user had to do is push a button. And it automatically, this robotic antenna automatically located the satellite and connected the user to the internet. So this was a huge advancement for the satellite connectivity because in general, you may need up to 2 hours to point a satellite antenna to a satellite that is geostationary, 34,000 kilometers overhead, and the signal is very, very narrow, and you have to have very precise instrumentation and knowledge to make sure that you are connected to the proper satellite, because there are a couple thousand of them up there, and that you are able to communicate with the right satellite, with the right modem that is provided by the service provider. So it was rather an exceptional feat to accomplish that. And as a result of it, we have sold over 10,000 antennas to a lot of industries around the world, oil and gas, disaster management, cellular backhaul. A lot of the fire departments around the world are using the antennas for communication. As you know, not everywhere, even today, is connectivity available. So satellite is something that provides life-saving connectivity in many places where there's no other way to get connected. So the early adapters were really companies, governments, military, and others who needed instant connectivity and didn't want to take with them a satellite engineer every time they moved. So oil and gas companies, for example, drill holes and look for oil and gas, and they move and they transmit the data back to the head office for somebody to analyze the results of the board that they have done. And so they could move 5-6 times a day, twice a day, and you would need somebody dedicated, an engineer, satellite engineer, to sit there and get the antennas pointed, disassemble, reassemble, repoint, disassemble, reassemble. So with our antenna, all you had to do is push one button. You didn't have to know anything about satellites. And then we branched out and developed flyaways, which are tripod-based units that fold into a couple of cases. And the latest one is a MEMPAC that you can carry with you in the back, in your back. And so to one customer, we sold over 400 of these antennas that they used for cellular backhaul in Japan during their tsunami when they lost all their cell towers. These portable antennas that are carbon fiber were dropped off and delivered to locations where cell towers used to be and connected, and essentially they become cell towers deliver connectivity at the cellular backhaul to over the satellite. So they have many, the antennas have many, many uses. And so now we are developing a new generation of antennas called the electronically steered phased array antenna that allows you to also move and transmit and receive at the same time. So you don't have to be on the pause. You can move. And so that's called satellite communication on the move instead of communication on the pause. And these antennas will be working with the LEO type constellation similar to SpaceX, Starlink constellation, Kuiper with Amazon, and others that operate LEO satellite constellations, which means that the satellite is no longer in a geostationary position. It constantly moves. And so you have to be able to track it while it moves and also take into consideration that you are moving. So it's a really complicated calculation and engineering that's involved, including the material that's used, the electronic phased array chipsets that are used. These are called the beamformers that form the beam up to the low Earth orbit satellite and track it and then switch over from one to the other because they go by. So you have to track one while you can see it and then drop off and pick up the next one that's coming up the horizon. So it's really complicated.
This is just watching you kind of explain and go through all of the different elements of the different things that you guys are up to is overwhelming. I imagine it poses a lot of challenges in terms of how you take that information, all of these tools and systems and everything, and communicate that in a way that is understandable to the people that could use this stuff. Have you guys faced a lot of challenges in the way of making that message clear?
Of course, it is very complex, but the end user only wants something like you have your cell phone, right? You push a button and everything is there. You don't really have to know a hell of a lot as to what goes on under the keypad of the phone, but it's the same here. There's a tremendous amount of knowledge and technology that goes into developing this technology and working with the satellite operators and the satellite manufacturers that developed the satellites and the modem manufacturers that developed the modem and the protocols and everything else that is involved in making the end result just a connectivity to an internet. Really, that's all it is. We deliver the same type of connectivity over the satellite as you would have in your office in downtown New York or wherever.
You know, as you're talking, I'm from an era where we used to have our phone lines tethered to the wall. And I've kind of been privileged to witness, I'm sure as you have, how fast these technologies evolve and get launched into the end user's hands. I imagine a lot of the work that you do is B2B, so it's a little bit different than the consumer front. Are you guys experiencing a major technological shift right now with the advent of newer AI technologies and things like that as it relates to the way you serve your customers?
We don't see that in our space, because that comes after the product that we deliver. So the AI part of it comes as part of the connectivity that we deliver. So we stop at the delivering the connectivity, and that's where AI picks up. AI picks up from the internet itself, so the applications of the internet. So we are really agnostic to that end. So AI, in our case, in our particular business, is not visible and it's not really applicable because we don't work with those type of applications. We actually only are like a pipe. We don't deliver what's inside the pipe. We're just delivering the pipe. So somebody else delivers the information over the pipe. So we provide the pipe.
That's a really great analogy to explain a very complex thing in a very simple way. That's a very powerful message. When it comes to attracting and acquiring new customers for your business, are you guys kind of focused on internal marketing engines and sales teams, or do you rely on kind of external third-party partnerships to help spur along your growth?
All of our 27 years that we've been in business has been done through resellers. So we are in 106 countries. They're a small company, only 33 people. And the success of our reach to 106 countries is because we sell only to resellers. We don't compete with them. We don't sell to end users. So even governments, they would have to buy from a local reseller in Bangladesh or in Thailand, wherever, because the local reseller will sell the antenna, install it, and then deliver connectivity to the customer. So we stop at the point where we sell the product to the reseller, other than we provide the reseller technical support. So he would be the first level technical support, and we would be the second level technical support to him. But he owns the customer, he interfaces with the customer. We don't have to be in Thailand or in Bangladesh, but we have hundreds, if not thousands, of systems in all of these places, and it's because of the reseller arrangement that we have.
Well, that's a completely different model than most businesses are even used to, because they're either dealing from business to business, and I get that you kind of are, or they're doing direct to consumer. How does one go about building those kinds of reseller type relationships? Is there a specific place you go to look for people like that, or?
It's, as they say, you build it, they'll come, and that's exactly what's happened here over 27 years. We go to trade shows and we do some advertising. But the product is world-class, reliable. Some of it has been still in the field for the last 15 years. And so all of these resellers and application specialists who actually need this type of connectivity, or they know who we are. And so the sales model is a pull. It's not a push. It's basically we sign up 2 or 3 resellers around the world every week that they want something very specific that we manufacture. So there is only 2 guys that cover the whole world. It's a very simple business model that they cover 106 countries, and essentially they just respond to requests.
So I guess you just kind of preemptively answered my next question, which was, if you have all of these people coming to you, I imagine that's probably quite a burden on your workforce, on your team. Is that the case? Or it sounds to me like you guys got it.
No, it's not the case, because it's all automated, right? We can crank out a quote in minutes. So we can do 15, 20 quotes to 15, 20 resellers. And then, of course, it doesn't happen that the reseller buys the product immediately. There is back and forth with the reseller, because he has to go back to his customer. Very often we ask specific questions: which satellite, what size transceiver, what size modem, which type of modem, and all of that. So there's a lot of technical background. So the company is 80% engineers and software developers, and the rest is sales and administration. So, and also we don't manufacture anything. Everything is outsourced. So that's another thing that's unique about the company. We design, develop the product, and we hand it over to an outsourced manufacturer who cranks out 200, 300 antennas for us. And we bring those into our warehouse, we test them, and we let them be ready to ship. So if you want 20 or 30 antennas, we can ship them within a couple of days.
Wow, this is an incredible amount of efficiency that you've kind of created around this in this ecosystem. Did you kind of naturally evolve into that, or was there some stumbling blocks along the way?
Well, I always knew that I didn't want to be in the manufacturing business. You need to have a large number of people. You have to let them go when things are slow. You have to hire new ones when things are busy. So it's better to just give it to somebody whose primary business is making product for other people. And so you give them a purchase order, you give them the design, and say build 200, and that's it. And when it depletes to maybe 50 left over, you build another batch of the same product or different products. So we have about 40 different products. So it's a kind of a juggling experience to make sure that there is enough inventory as for the low-moving products and the fast-moving products also. So we build less of the the slow-moving products than we build of the fast-moving products.
So are there other players in the game in terms of like the work that you're doing? Is there any other direct competition, or is your business model so unique that you're not really playing on the same field?
We don't see much competition. The only competition Well, it's not really a competition. The only other people who are in the similar business are the ones who supply the military. And so they build mil-spec antennas, and they pretty much build it themselves. They don't use outsourcing, so their volume is very low. They also, their business model is you give me an order, and in 6 months or 5 months, I'll send you a product. With us, if you want the product, you'll get it the same day, the same week. A lot of the things that hold up the deliveries, other components that we need to hang on to this antenna that the customer requires. But our product is available from inventory. We have about $8 million worth of inventory. We are publicly traded. The company has been profitable for since its inception. We have about $25 million of working capital. We have no debt, and we pay dividends.
That's a very rare situation. I've
in the technology company business, yes.
Yeah. I have a very, very like loose working knowledge of just how you would kind of analyze whether or not a company is doing well. And for you to be 25 million working capital and debt free is a huge accomplishment. So kudos to you guys for managing to kind of stay in that position of the leadership in this industry. That's a really incredible accomplishment.
Yes, it is, but it's if you run a business in a proper way and you pick a market, a vertical market that needs attention, it doesn't have to be very big. I mean, our business is not that big. I think the most we have done was at $22 or $23 million a year, so it's not significant, but it's very profitable and it's very nimble and it's very high quality, and it fills a niche. So so the problem of being public with this type of a company is that we never go out to look for money. So we are kind of a neglected company on the stock exchange, because those people who raise money are the ones who promote the companies like ours. And also the growth, in our business is sporadic. It can be 10 million one year, 20 million the next year. So it's probably not going to be $100 million company, but it is a business. It's successful. It employs people. It has super technology, very advanced. The people who work here love to work here because the challenges are enormous. And, and this is basically just a vertical market that we are addressing.
What do you attribute to your success in building community around your business, the people that you employ and the customers that you guys, I'm sure you have long-term relationships with these people. Is that true?
Of course. I mean, many of them have been with us 30 plus years. So oil and gas companies, for example, Hughes, Viasat, all the big satellite companies that buy from us, or the customers that they buy from us, have been with us for many, many years. And so they get a reliable product. They get phenomenal technical support from us. They get instant delivery, pretty much. And it's very rare in the industry. I mean, it's some companies, I called last week, I called a number of companies asking for technical information on some product. Never even got a call back. So, or an email response or something. So that's not atypical. It's pretty much, in many industries, it's almost unheard of that somebody will return your call the same day. You have to prod people like cattle to you want to buy something from them, and there's no response. So so we have exactly the opposite. We are super efficient, super responsive. Technically, if you have a problem wherever you are in Mongolia or in China or whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll respond to you. And and the ability, we have the ability to take control over your equipment, over satellite, or over internet, so to speak. So we can diagnose your problem instantly. And in 27 years, we have never had a product that was ever returned to us. It was all fixed over the phone or with a simple part that the customer has. It's that reliable. So it says, for an oil and gas company, that's a lifesaver, because every hour that they're down, they're losing, thousands and thousands of dollars. So they buy the best, the most reliable, and they appreciate the relationship that we have with them. So we have had this with companies all over the world, as I said, in 106 countries, and they keep buying from us. So it's a great arrangement.
There's it seems to me like you have, and pardon the analogy here, but you've created the Amazon Prime of satellite communication stuff. I think that's an incredible accomplishment to be that quick and that nimble with the way that you serve the way you serve your customers. So what's in the cards for the future of the business? Where are you guys headed? Do you guys have new things coming down the pipeline?
Yes, we have, as I mentioned, we have this electronically steered phased array antenna that we developed over 6 years. It took us about 6 years to develop this, and it's going to be rolled out sometimes this year. We are actually manufacturing the first prototype of this antenna, and it has been already tested 2 years ago, but we are building a larger version of it, which will accomplish the connectivity of multi-orbit. So multi-orbit is you have geostationary satellites, so you have low Earth orbit satellites and medium Earth orbit satellites. So this antenna will be in motion, so it will allow you to connect to a satellite from an aircraft or from a ship or from a car into any of these multi-orbit constellations. So this is what we have been developing. We are also developing a beamformer, which is really the heart of the phased array antenna. It's the chipset that makes the antenna work. It forms the beam and tracks the satellite and communicates with the satellite. So those are the two technological advancements that we have over the years developed, because the satellite industry is moving in that direction. So if you want to sell antennas on a LEO constellation, it's a satellite constellation that's constantly moving. There's thousands of satellites in different parts of the Earth. And so you have to be able to track them. And in order to track them, you need an electronically steered antenna that can do that. The parabolic antenna that we are using presently, or the ones that you see on the houses, is no longer going to do that.
That's really powerful. There's an excitement that I can sense in your voice, in how you guys are bringing this to light, and it's really cool that after 6 years now, it seems it's coming to light,
coming to fruition. Yes.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well, to wrap things up here, Leslie, I really appreciate the time that you shared with us. You've been very generous with your time and wisdom. I have one last question I always like to ask our guests, which is, if you had one piece of advice for others in a similar position to yours, who's looking to achieve what you've achieved in your lifetime, what would that be?
I would say you have to select an opportunity that is either neglected, ignored, and it has a potential, and then stick with it. Stick to your knitting and focus on that particular market niche or vertical market, and do the best you can to your customers. They will never abandon you.
That's very sound advice. I'm learning myself as I continue to evolve as well, that those transparent and open relationships where you constantly work to serve are the most rewarding ones. So wonderful advice, Leslie. Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you to pick your brain further, or maybe work with you in the future, is there a way that someone could do that?
Sure. They can contact me via email. You have my email address, right? LKLEIN@c-comsat.com, or they can just go on our website and and give me a call. That's phone number is listed there too. So the email is best, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody who's interested.
Wonderful. We'll link to all that stuff in the show notes. That's it for this episode. If you want to get in touch with us for any reason, it's nextgencalls.com. Otherwise, that's it for this episode, and we'll see you in the next.